Hello everyone, it's March 19th, 2019. It's Tuesday, it's Harp Tuesday. And in today's episode, I was inspired to do a look at harmonics. And not just sort of normal harmonics, but harmonics where you're going up the harmonic series, so that you can create not just an octave higher, but an octave and a fifth, or two octaves, octave and a third, like double octave and a third, or double octave and a fifth. And because I recently did a piece by a contemporary composer that called for a bunch of these harmonics, and I've had some fun on my own with that, and I think I posted, I recently posted, I posted a video for my patrons, an extra New Year's improv, where at some point, I think in that video, I was kind of doing some of these non-typical harmonics. But I don't think I've really done much in terms of demonstrating that. And I ended up coming up with a different technique, for me at least, for some of these harmonics, and I thought I'd share that with you as well. So, of course, a normal harmonic involves cutting the string exactly in half. Holding it in the center of the string and playing, one side or the other. But if we divide it into a third, we'll get the octave plus a fifth. And if we can divide it into, of course, a quarter, a fourth, we can get the double octave. If we can do a fifth, we should be able to get this octave and a third. Sorry for the tuning, or octave and a fifth. And actually end up finding the wire strings were particularly effective on this. But as you can see, it's a little bit difficult to do a normal. So there we that's the two octaves. It's a little bit difficult as we get in here. Now these are all flat. Let's say I make let's try this a B sharp. We want this. There's the octave, double octave and a fifth, or the double octave and a third. But it gets pretty unwieldy to find those, is what I found. And especially because it's such a difference, say if it's a sharp, or if it's a flat, then you're way up here with a thumb in the, you can't see that, can you? You're way up here with a thumb in the discs, and it's awkward and potentially hazardous to your hands. So what I ended up doing is a different technique, and I want to demonstrate that to you, but I'm just going to have to change my camera angle. So hold on one second. So as I said, I found trying to do the harmonics up at the top of the string challenging, and I thought, what about trying to do it based on the lower portion of the string? So in this case, the piece called for a lot of double octaves plus the third. You're very close to the double plus fifth. And suddenly you can get all of these. I found it much easier to get all of these intervals. I also found the wire strings, as I say, were particularly conducive, whereas normally we wouldn't I would normally try to avoid writing a normal harmonic on the wire strings. But here, they worked quite effectively. The other advantage was you can kind of tell where you're going to be. So even going, say, from this octave and a third, which should be about here. Let's see. Yeah. That's a G flat. If I have a G natural, it's going to be a little bit lower, right? The string is a little bit shorter overall. Or G sharp. So it's a small change, right? So if I wanted to play G sharp here, and if I got it, I knew that the flat, well, it's going to be somewhere around here, right? Harmonics are, of course, an imperfect science, but it was a small movement and I kind of relatively knew where I was, whereas if you were trying to do them up in the discs, as I say, there would be a big difference. Are you up in the middle of the discs on a flat string or quite a bit beneath on a, say, sharp string? So the technique itself was fascinating for me at least, to work on, because I'd never done harmonics this way. So in other words, I'm holding the string, or the percentage that I want to hold, and I'm playing with a thumb and I'm playing with a finger. And it took some getting used to. It really made me appreciate what it's like for someone learning harmonics for the first time. I think that's always just helpful as a teacher, right? All these things that you take for granted are harder than you think. And just the timing, right? So the thing about the harmonic is there's so many aspects. There's the finding the right spot on the string. There's the sort of the form. But there's also the timing of when you remove so you play the string, but like this gets a thud. It's trying to time that removal of the thumb, and I found that fairly challenging. So with a normal harmonic, and let's see, am I out of the picture? Yes, I am. With a normal harmonic, whether it's this left-hand harmonic or this style right-hand harmonic, I often feel as if I'm pushing off of a diving board, right? That the so let's see, is this in the picture at all? Oh, almost. That you're preparing, and the part of the hand that's holding the string is pushing off of that string. So you play and push off kind of as one motion, and somehow that makes the timing, to me at least, make sense and really feel solid. Whereas here, I still can't quite get that same effect of, again, if we remove this thumb too early, we get a normal sound. If we leave it too late, we get a fairly stopped sound. So for me, at least, I had a lot of fun playing around with this, kind of trying to learn this technique and playing around with this piece, which was very cool. And I know, of course, not everybody does the sort of standard harmonics like this. In the right hand in particular, some people will use a third finger. And of course, where you hold it, whether it's with a knuckle, whether it's with a flesh, same as where you hold on the left hand. So I'd love to hear from you some of your, do you do unusual technique or a not as common technique in terms of harmonics? and whatever your experience has been with that. And if you haven't, it's kind of fun to experiment with some of these non-typical harmonics, not just the single octave. And again, also, I think one of the things I'll just close with mentioning is that harmonics often they can also be affected by the harp and the strings, so that some harps just maybe naturally are much easier to create the harmonics. And sometimes if you're just having a lot of trouble getting a particular harmonic, it might be that that's a sign that that string is old and needs to be replaced, or possibly that it's just not as good spot on the harp. If generally the harp responds to harmonics well, but that one spot maybe just not quite as easily. So again, it's the type of thing where you might find quite a bit of variation among harps. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that, and have fun with harmonics. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Cheers.